Did you know that in some places, owning a Bible is actually illegal? For many, the Bible is a source of spiritual comfort, but in some countries, it's forbidden. In these places, simply having, reading, or sharing this ancient book can lead to serious trouble. Today, we're going to explore 10 countries where the Bible is banned. We'll look at why these bans exist and what they mean for the people living there. Stick around to uncover the hidden stories and struggles behind these prohibitions. Let's delve in, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really helps our channel grow. Thank you. Number 10. Morocco. In the lively markets of Morocco, with their vibrant colors and rich scents of spices and textiles, there's a surprising contrast when it comes to religious freedom. Although Morocco is known for its moderate stance on various religions, owning or distributing Bibles in Arabic is strictly forbidden. This restriction highlights a complex and sometimes contradictory approach to religious tolerance in the country. The Moroccan government allows Bibles to be displayed and sold in languages like French, English, and Spanish, showing some openness to Christian texts. However, Arabic translations of the Bible are rare and closely monitored. These Arabic Bibles are usually found only in select bookshops and are carefully watched by authorities. If there is any suspicion that they are being used for proselytizing, they are quickly confiscated. This strict control reflects a broader policy aimed at balancing religious visibility with preventing religious persuasion that might disrupt Morocco's predominantly Muslim society. In Morocco, Christian children face serious limits on their religious freedoms, especially when it comes to education. They don't have access to Christian religious education, which shows a broader hesitation to include non-Muslim beliefs in Moroccan society. This lack of religious education not only affects Christian kids, but also influences how future generations understand and accept different religions. Morocco's situation highlights the tricky balance between traditional values and modern ideas about religious freedom. As the country deals with these issues, it offers valuable lessons for other nations facing similar challenges with religious tolerance and human rights. Number 9. Uzbekistan. In Uzbekistan, religious freedom is under severe threat, reflecting the broader struggles faced by people in authoritarian regimes. Located in Central Asia, Uzbekistan is ruled by a government that imposes strict controls on personal freedoms with a particular focus on religious expression. For those who practice Christianity, owning a Bible isn't merely discouraged. It can lead to harsh penalties and serious consequences. The government maintains tight control over religious activities, and this often translates into severe measures against those who possess Christian texts. Authorities routinely raid homes under various pretenses. In one notable case, officers conducted a search supposedly for weapons, but ended up seizing and destroying a Bible they found. This act highlights the extreme lengths to which the government will go to suppress any religious materials that don't align with state-sanctioned beliefs. The situation is even more alarming when considering the pattern of these raids. In another disturbing example, a local resident openly admitted to reading Christian literature. This led to a sudden and invasive raid on their home, where their religious books were confiscated and destroyed. Such incidents are part of a broader trend of repression aimed at stifling spiritual diversity and limiting the freedoms of individuals who wish to explore or practice their faith outside the boundaries set by the state. For people in Uzbekistan, exploring their faith through books like the Bible can be incredibly risky and may lead to severe consequences. This situation is a stark contrast to the freedoms many enjoy in other parts of the world and highlights the ongoing struggle for religious freedom. Uzbekistan's strict policies remind us that the fight for religious freedom is still very important today. It's a call for us to stand with those facing persecution for their beliefs and to advocate for everyone's right to freely express their faith. By doing so, we not only support those in need, but also uphold the core values of freedom and tolerance that contribute to a fairer and more compassionate world. Number 8. Maldives. Beneath the surface of its picturesque tourist image, The Maldives is governed by stringent religious laws that starkly conflict with global norms of religious freedom. While the Maldives is celebrated as a tropical paradise, this facade conceals a legal framework where exploring or practicing a different faith can be fraught with serious risks. In the Maldives, importing a Bible is not merely discouraged, it is a legally punishable offense. This prohibition is a reflection of deeper societal norms and legal codes that tightly regulate religious expression. The absence of a complete Bible translation into Dhivehi, the national language, further highlights the institutional disregard for religious diversity and underscores the challenges faced by anyone wishing to practice a faith outside of Islam. For Maldivians, converting from Islam, the state religion, is far more than a personal decision. It leads to immediate and severe consequences, including the automatic revocation of citizenship. Such a drastic measure underscores the harsh penalties imposed on those who deviate from the state's religious doctrine. Possessing a Bible, in this context, is considered a capital offense, demonstrating the extreme lengths to which the government goes to maintain religious homogeneity. Churches are non-existent in the Maldives, and the Christian community, whether they are locals or visitors, is forced into secrecy. They gather in hidden meetings, devoid of the basic freedoms to openly own, share, or discuss their religious texts. This clandestine practice of faith is a stark contrast to the island's outward appearance as a serene and welcoming holiday destination. The situation in the Maldives raises critical questions about how a nation's religious identity can coexist with individual rights to religious freedom. This discrepancy between the Maldives' global image as a luxurious getaway and its harsh internal policies reveals underlying tensions and the high cost of maintaining religious conformity. As our world becomes increasingly interconnected, the story of the Maldives serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities involved in reconciling deeply held religious values with universal rights to freedom of belief and expression. The Maldives' situation calls for a global dialogue that bridges these divides. It's a call for international awareness and intervention to ensure that tourism and economic allure do not overshadow fundamental human rights. Addressing these issues thoughtfully and proactively is essential not only for advancing global human rights, but also for enriching our understanding of how tradition and modernity can coexist in diverse societies. Engaging with these challenges is crucial for fostering a more inclusive and compassionate world where fundamental freedoms are upheld for everyone, regardless of their faith or beliefs. Number 7. Libya. Libya, ranked 7th on our list, starkly illustrates the severe limitations placed on religious freedoms. In this country, converting to Christianity is not just illegal, it poses significant personal and familial risks. Converts must practice their faith in complete secrecy, concealing their beliefs from family and friends due to fear of persecution or worse. Reports from organizations like Open Doors USA reveal that Libyan converts often have to maintain a facade, participating in traditional Islamic ceremonies such as marriages and, more distressingly, receiving Islamic funerals. This means their Christian faith is not publicly acknowledged after their death, further erasing their identity. The situation is even graver for migrant Christians in Libya, who face extreme isolation and lack of community support. Many of these individuals meet their end in remote, unmarked graves, their suffering remaining unnoticed and unacknowledged. The legal environment in Libya is equally harsh when it comes to religious texts. Owning, distributing, or importing Bibles, especially those in Arabic, is strictly illegal. Such activities are seen as acts of evangelism and are harshly penalized under Libyan law. This prohibition reflects a broader governmental agenda to enforce religious conformity and suppress any form of religious diversity. Libya's harsh reality serves as a stark reminder of the challenges faced by many in parts of the world where religious freedom is not a given, but a contested privilege. It urges those of us in more tolerant societies to cherish and protect our freedoms more diligently. Additionally, it calls for a global response, one that includes international advocacy and support, respecting diverse belief systems while promoting dialogue and understanding among different religious communities. By shedding light on the trials faced by Christians in Libya, we contribute to a broader conversation about religious tolerance and freedom. Supporting global efforts to advocate for religious freedom not only aids those in dire situations, but also enriches our collective human experience, fostering a world where everyone can live according to their deepest convictions without fear of persecution. Number 6. Somalia. Somalia, situated in the volatile Horn of Africa, exemplifies extreme religious persecution deeply rooted in its societal norms and governance. In Somalia, Islam permeates every aspect of daily life to such an extent that any deviation from the dominant religious practices is not only discouraged, but actively suppressed. Christians, a vulnerable minority in Somalia, must navigate a perilous existence, hiding their faith to avoid the ire of radical groups and government officials. Possessing a Bible, a symbol of their beliefs, can lead to life-threatening consequences. The prevailing message in Somalia is stark and chilling. Islam is the only acceptable faith. This sentiment is reinforced in mosques and madrasas, where imams passionately preach against Christianity, insisting that there is no room for Christians, churches, or Christian practices within the country. Converts from Islam to Christianity face even greater dangers. Labeled as apostates, they risk severe punishment, including social ostracism, physical violence, or even death. The dire situation for Somali Christians highlights a grave violation of fundamental human rights, underscoring the urgent need for international attention and intervention. The plight of Christians in Somalia prompts us to reflect on the critical value of religious freedom, a foundational element of democratic societies. It also serves as a call to action for the global community to promote greater religious tolerance and support initiatives that protect those persecuted for their beliefs. By shining a light on these distressing realities, we aim to inform and inspire a collective effort toward creating an environment where religious liberty is upheld and individuals can practice their faith without fear. This reflection on Somalia's harsh conditions serves as a crucial reminder of the ongoing work needed to achieve a truly inclusive and empathetic global society. Number 5. Yemen. Yemen, currently grappling with a severe humanitarian crisis as reported by UNICEF, faces challenges that extend well beyond immediate needs for food and healthcare. In this war-torn country, the situation is especially dire for its Christian minority. Aid distribution in Yemen is often controlled by local leaders, and their decisions can be influenced by religious affiliations. This systemic bias frequently disadvantages Christians, who are pushed to the back of the line for vital resources necessary for survival. Religious oppression in Yemen also intrudes into the private lives of Christians. It is illegal for anyone to own or carry a Bible, which is not merely a regulatory issue, but a significant infringement on religious freedom and personal rights. This ban further isolates and marginalizes Christians, compounding their struggles in a nation already devastated by conflict and deprivation. The restrictions create an environment of fear and exclusion, exacerbating the difficulties faced by the Christian community. The situation in Yemen underscores that issues of religious freedom and fair aid distribution are not just local problems, but global ones. They highlight the urgent need for international advocacy and action to promote tolerance and ensure that humanitarian aid reaches everyone, regardless of their faith. By understanding and addressing these challenges, the global community can help foster a more inclusive approach that respects and protects the rights of every individual. This narrative serves as a powerful reminder of the ongoing struggle for basic human rights and dignity in parts of the world where these are most at risk. Number 4. China. In the complex realm of global religious freedoms, China presents a striking example of governmental intervention into personal belief systems. Under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, the nation has enforced a stringent ban on the online distribution of the Bible. This policy reflects the government's intent to tightly control religious practices, extending beyond mere prohibition to actively erasing the Bible's presence from both digital and physical spaces. The CCP's actions are not limited to removing Bibles from bookstores. They have also taken the unprecedented step of altering the scripture itself. Verses from the Bible have been replaced with quotations from President Xi Jinping, representing a bold attempt to replace religious texts with state-endorsed ideology. This oversight over the Bible's distribution continues a long-standing policy of allowing its distribution only through state-sanctioned churches, ensuring that religious teachings align with government-approved doctrines. However, the rise of the internet and e-commerce briefly created a loophole, making the Bible accessible online. Recent crackdowns have aggressively closed this gap, reaffirming the CCP's commitment to controlling the religious narrative. Major online platforms like JD.com now yield no results for the Holy Bible. While Amazon.cn might still offer related religious study guides or texts such as the Quran, the Bible itself is conspicuously absent. These measures illustrate a broader approach to religion in China, where the state exerts significant influence over how religious identity is expressed and experienced. The removal of the Bible from accessible media is not merely an act of censorship, but a strategic maneuver to shape the nation's cultural and spiritual landscape. In today's digital age, where online access often symbolizes freedom, such restrictions represent a profound departure from global norms of religious and personal liberty. China's situation serves as a critical reminder of the ongoing struggle between state control and individual religious rights. It prompts global communities and advocates of religious freedom to reflect on the delicate balance between respecting national sovereignty and promoting universal human rights. Observing these developments underscores the importance of engaging in dialogue and advocacy to uphold personal beliefs and freedoms in an increasingly interconnected world. Number 3. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia provides a stark example of the tight control exercised over religious expression within its borders. In this country, Islam is not only the state religion, but also the only religion permitted to be publicly practiced and promoted. This results in a unique landscape of religious uniformity enforced by law, profoundly affecting the importation and distribution of non-Islamic religious texts like the Bible. While Saudi law allows individuals to privately practice other religions, public practice is strictly forbidden. This creates a stark separation between personal belief and public behavior. Individuals can own and use religious texts such as the Bible for personal use, but these texts must remain hidden from public view. Public display of religious symbols, public worship of other religions, and any attempt to convert Muslims to other faiths are severely penalized. This legal framework highlights a narrow interpretation of religious freedom, restricting it to the private domain. It raises significant ethical and human rights concerns. On one hand, Saudi Arabia's approach maintains its cultural and religious uniformity. On the other, it limits individual freedoms and the universal right to religious expression. For global audiences, Saudi Arabia's policies offer a critical perspective on balancing national religious identity with international human rights standards. They prompt us to consider how nations can uphold their cultural and religious identities while also respecting universal human rights. This examination of Saudi Arabia's religious policies is more than an academic issue. It has real implications for diplomacy and international relations. It challenges global leaders and citizens to think critically about how we engage with countries that have different religious and cultural frameworks, and how we can promote respectful and understanding dialogue that honors both cultural identity and human rights. Number 2. North Korea, delving into the heart of totalitarianism. North Korea, ranked number 2 on our list, offers a chilling example of extreme control over personal belief systems. In this secretive state, the regime enforces absolute allegiance to its leader, Kim Jong-un, relegating any other forms of worship, including religious practices, to acts of treason. The Bible and the Quran are not just banned. They are seen as symbols of defiance against the regime's strict ideological control. The penalties for possessing these texts are severe. Individuals caught with a Bible may face torture, indefinite imprisonment, and even execution. This harsh stance reveals the regime's deep-seated fear of ideological dissent and its desperate effort to maintain control. It represents a severe violation of personal freedoms and human rights, painting a dark picture of life under an extreme authoritarian regime. For those of us in societies where religious freedom is taken for granted, North Korea's draconian policies serve as a stark reminder of the struggles faced by many around the world in their pursuit of spiritual freedom. Reflecting on the situation in North Korea compels us to value and defend our own rights to belief and expression, and to advocate for those who are unable to do so. This examination not only enhances our understanding of the complex interplay between religion and politics, but also challenges us to support global efforts aimed at promoting religious freedom and human dignity. By shining a light on these harsh realities, we can contribute to a broader conversation about human rights and work towards a world where everyone has the liberty to practice their faith without fear. Number 1. Afghanistan. Afghanistan exemplifies a stark reality in the realm of religious freedoms, particularly with respect to Christianity. In this nation, Christianity remains fundamentally unrecognized and excluded from public life. A poignant incident from 2009 highlights the severe constraints on religious materials within the country. During that year, Bibles translated into Afghanistan's primary languages, Pashto and Dari, were sent to a U.S. soldier stationed at a local base. However, these religious texts were never distributed. Instead, they were confiscated and destroyed, adhering strictly to military regulations that prohibit any form of proselytizing. The situation gained further visibility when Al Jazeera, a Qatar-based media outlet, broadcast footage showing U.S. soldiers at the base attending a Bible study class, prominently displaying the stack of translated Bibles. This incident caused a significant media uproar, drawing attention to the restrictions on religious materials. The U.S. military responded officially, denying any attempts to convert Afghan citizens to Christianity. This event underscores the extreme limitations placed on religious practices in Afghanistan. It illustrates how deeply ingrained and stringent these restrictions are, reflecting broader issues of religious intolerance and the suppression of minority faiths. For global audiences, Afghanistan's situation serves as a critical reminder of the ongoing struggles for religious freedom and highlights the need for continued advocacy and support for those facing such severe limitations on their beliefs. This episode highlights the intense scrutiny and the delicate balance between respecting religious beliefs and adhering to local laws in Afghanistan. The intersection of military operations and religious policies creates a complex and often contentious environment, reflecting the broader challenges of maintaining one's faith in regions that are hostile to diverse religious expressions. The 2009 incident, where Bibles were confiscated and destroyed, underscores the significant hurdles faced by individuals trying to practice their faith in restrictive settings. It provides a window into the broader implications of religious bans in modern conflicts and their impact on global religious freedom. If you found this discussion insightful, clicking the subscribe button would be a great way to support the channel. Thank you for your continued support.